possible chairs you can get in the Chairquisition. Pavilion is a fourth-person puzzle game. Coincidence? I think not. This is Pavilion from Visiontrick Media. Written on the Unity engine, you can pick it up for about $9, $10 wherever the hell you live. Except if you're in Space Tanzania. What is it? Pavilion is a fourth-person puzzling adventure. Throws you directly into the mysterious world without any text tutorials or beginning explanations, although it needs several. A puzzle game portrayed through exploration and audio-visual imagery. Yeah, well, that's a heaping pile of pretentiousness. We're going to dig into that a little bit more in the Chairquisition. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's amazeballs. We also got our categories Doom, Makes with the Working, Shiny Sounds, Controls, and Fun. So let's kick this off. Did Pavilion make with the working then?
Over here on the Ubuntu 1404 LTS, which is the best LTS, box of business with a 980 displayed at UHD. Some people like to call it 4K, with an 8150, not really overclocked, but running at 4 gigajoules. Nothing really to report. I mean, it ran out of the tin, and no complaints. Maintained a solid 60 at 1080p and 3840 by 2160. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say. So, wait, I have one thing to say. 4 chairs.
Well, on Fedora 24, 64-bit with the i7 6700K and the GTX 980, it didn't really give you a resolution option, so it ran out of the box with the default settings on the hardware. I guess I gotta give it 4 chairs.
Yep, same here on Ubuntu Mate 1604 LTS. The not-so-good LTS, but still an LTS, I guess it qualifies, with the AMD FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and the GTX 1080 from Gigabyte. It held 60, except during area transitions, but I guess that's to be expected to a degree. But yeah, 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 4 chairs with Makes with the Working. Up next is the shinny and the sound. So, Ven, how did it shin and how did it sound?
Well, one of the things you're definitely going to notice about this beautiful, beautiful game is, well, your first thought, I shouldn't say. Your first thought's going to be, have you ever enabled the, show touch or cursor device on an Android tablet or mobile? Because that's how you navigate this motherfuckers. And it will distract you from those beautifully drawn levels because they are gorgeous. They are well done. They are highly detailed. But that little bowl, how you activate everything, is going to just fucking distract you completely because it's just so damn out of place and it doesn't fit the game's aesthetic. I don't know why it was there. Maybe they were like, okay, this is going to be a mobile game. Like, oh shit, the touch targets are too small and you can't really tell, so fuck it, we're just going to roll with it. The levels, the puzzles, whatever you want to call them, again, they are wicked beautiful. They're hella intricate. A lot of love and a lot of time went into creating those. Nothing to complain about. It does have sounds. But, like Mr. Quasimodo, I hate the sound of bells. So that got noped almost instantaneously. We do have a live stream on the Twitch of Jordan playing it and me just screaming about bells while Jordan was screaming about bells and just screaming ring over and over and over. But 3 cheers for the shiny and sounds because, outside of glowy space orb thingy of like really, everything else, bee's knees, man.
Yeah, the game has very pretty hand-drawn sprites and background, and the entire aesthetic is really, really gorgeous. And the ding sounds sound like bell dings. You can hear me complain about that all throughout that stream. Check that out on Twitch. But the one sore spot, like Ven mentioned, is the really crappy Photoshop smear-esque cursor you have to use to ding the bells and point the guy in the right direction, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. No real complaints otherwise, and it is very, very pretty, so that gets it 4 chairs.
Yeah, no, the cursor definitely looks out of place, but we'll get into that. For all my spiels about mechanics, narrative, and aesthetics, it's good to see a game which can focus on just the aesthetics and still be functional. I'll expand on that a bit later as well. Pavilion's focus is very clearly on the aesthetics, like The backdrops, the sprites, and even the dullard you're attempting to help navigate the world are very, very well drawn. The background music is very subtle, but very effective at creating a sort of quasi-theological setting with a healthy dose of atmosphere. It's a game which focuses on the show, don't tell school of game design, and I love that. I really do. It's like the moment you leave the main menu and get in game proper, there's no more text on screen. 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 whole chairs for Shiny and the sounds. Up next is controls. Then ding!
Dang, more like rang. Basically, your only control is that floaty little blob. And the only way you can use that is either with I use my X-Clone controller, or you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard organ. That's about it. You move, rang. You kind of might push-pull some puzzle elements, lift a gate or two, rang some more, and that's it. You even made this fucking game require a controller on the NVIDIA Shield. Not making that shit up, man. I mean, that's a true thing. I mean, why not? I mean, with something like this, why not let me directly interact with my gerbil, my point-clicky thing, like, I don't know, every other game since forever has done. Why not? Let me do that. You're either trolling all of the players, everyone who purchased this game, or you're being stupid on purpose. I don't know which one it is. And, I wanted to give it 2 chairs, but I'm not going to give this 2 chairs for the controls because of that RTAR decision, because it does allow you to do something. It allows you to play this in big picture mode without needing the Areola controller or any type of fuckery on your Steam box, which I guess is a good thing, ? So, they're a bit sluggish, not slow. Well, it is slow. It gets complex when you have to do a bunch of things, as I'm sure Jordan can tell you. At one time where you just like, if I could just use my dribble and click, I'd be done out of this puzzle. Kind of ding it on that. But everything else is completely functional because there's not much to it, but 3 chairs.
Ding! Yeah, you control the guy by ringing bells and turning off lights and dragging things to block guys. I just really want an option to slap him whenever he does something stupid. Because I feel that is a better incentive than taking advantage of his fear of the dark. But, yeah, you can't use, to echo my cohorts, you cannot use the mouse for moving the cursor around, which is really, really dumb. I often like to use the control section to discuss the rules of the game, because, and I'll get into this a little more in the fun section, but really, like, you have to deal with like this really stupid pathfinding AI to solve puzzles, and it's just working around that and not really engaging with the game beyond that. So I have to give it 2 chairs because bad rules.
Yeah. Controls, in order not to break immersion, need to be spot on. And the way you make spot on controls in a game where your agency as a player is conveyed by a cursor is to use the tool people most often use and are familiar with. Which, in the case of a fucking cursor, is a goddamn mouse. How do you make a game where your visual representation in game itself is a fucking cursor and not have mouse control over it? How do you justify that? The closest you can get to actual mouse control is if you have a mistress of your own or an areola controller, as it were, and you set one of the areolas to work as enhanced camera control or joystick mouse, as Steam Big Picture Mode calls it. If you set one of those to work as at that point, it will work basically like a touchpad, and you can sort of kind of use it, but it's a very teeny tiny area. It's like really, really tiny. So
you mean a tiny areola, right?
Yeah, it's a really tiny areola. So for me, and the fact that you can't really rebind controls because again, you're just controlling a cursor, so it gets 2 chairs for the controls.
That's 2 whole chairs for controls. Let's wrap this up, put a bow on it. Ven, did you have fun playing Pavilion?
Absolutely, tons and tons of fun. Man, I can't even hear you. All the fun I'm having. Not really. Listen, man, I found a way to play this game because, we do want to put some time and some hours. And technically, I played this game longer than even what it says on my Steam because Jordan and I put another hour into it, and we kind of make single-player games co-op. And I was like, okay, ding that thing, we move. I did manage to help during that live stream, and I was like, "You're getting red herring, son," and that was the one time I had something to contribute for once. But if I'm playing it here, you're playing the home version, the Forever Alone version, by yourself, like most people like me are. If you just leave it running in the background, because you'll play with the puzzle, you get pissed off, you're like, screw this thing. You go do some work, then you're like, oh wait, it's still running. Okay, maybe you'll have time and care enough to solve another puzzle. I found outside of doing a live stream and some type of performance for other people, I didn't really feel a reason to continue on doing it. So if I could squirrel a bit and come back to it, that's pretty, that's pretty much how it worked. And yeah, we're not getting off to a good start, are we? But I don't know, man. It just genuinely never clicked with me. You know, I found the puzzles that were more frustrating than challenging. That's never a good sign. It's like, I understand how to do this. Just do this. Use this lobotomized ass banjo that you're trying to control. But more importantly, the game doesn't exactly go out of its way to explain why you should bother playing it in the first place. You just don't. No, you're like, okay, you're dropped in. Okay, lobotomized ass banjo, run around and do your thing, ring the bells, move the platforms, and you quit caring because why are you attached to this person? Outside of $9.99, I don't know why. And if you do a search for fourth-person game, just do a search for that. All you'll find is this game because it's the most fucking pretentious thing I've ever heard. And this is not fourth-person puzzling adventure. Nay. It's a Dick God simulator who just happens to have a raging clue for ringing bells. That's what this game is about. Nothing more. It is gorgeous. It's well done. But it's just missing the thing. I don't know what it is, but whatever that thing is, it's not there that makes me want to play.
Immersion.
Something, man. One chair.
Yeah, one thing people fail to realize is that outside of third person, once you start adding more people on it, it's still third person because you're looking at it. First person is looking through your perspective. Second person is looking through the perspective of someone looking at you. Third person is some other party, and fourth person is that same other party, and so on and so forth, which made me scream pretentious bullshit this first time I read that description. And if you caught the scream on Wednesday, because I was screaming quite a bit, you saw a few of the puzzles, and they're not so much logic as process of elimination, because, again, if your little buddy there had half a brain, I think if he had the brain of, like, maybe a 6-year-old, he could put 2 and 13 together and actually figure out how to solve most of these puzzles in about 30 seconds. I want to compare this game to a much better artsy puzzle game, The Bridge. The Bridge fucks with you because it gives you the simple solution that you think, oh yeah, I'm just going to do that. Wrong. Oh, here's another solution. Maybe that's it. Wrong. And you actually have to think about how the pieces interact with the levels in order to accomplish what you're trying to do. You need to think several steps ahead. In this, the main character is an idiot. You say, you don't even know where he's going to go until you actually ring the bell and place things, because there are little nooks and crannies that the isometric view will hide away. And, oh, he could walk through that? What the shit? Why doesn't he just take the shortest path? Because he's an idiot. And you have to suffer through this for the entire game. And it's like pulling teeth. I cannot have fun with this. I don't understand how anyone can have fun with this. One chair.
Yeah, we've had puzzle games before which stride the line between simple and simplistic. The very first game that pops into my mind is Stephen's Sausage Roll. Not just for its simplicity, but also for almost the utopic reliance on mechanics. Stephen's Sausage Roll eschewed fancy aesthetics and all manner of preformed narrative to focus on a very simple but effective set of mechanics. And even the very basic aesthetics you had in Stephen's Sausage Roll they served only to complement those mechanics. Everything you needed to solve a puzzle was always on screen the entire time. That is how you make a genius puzzle game. You give players a gun, and then you sit back and you grab some popcorn while you watch them repeatedly shoot themselves in the foot. Pavilion, on the other hand, is definitely trying to do... Well, it's trying to do something similar, but it fails to grasp the quote-unquote simplicity factor. yes, the art is very, very pretty, but if you're making me scroll through an entire screen's worth of nothing, there's nothing there. Why? Just so you could put more pretties that really do nothing, and that ends up artificially inflating the difficulty because I can't see exactly which bell is going to lead where. Then you haven't made a game. You've made a pretentious piece of masturbatory art, which I guess in turn explains the whole fourth person denominator thing. It is a very aesthetically pleasing piece of masturbatory art, I'll give you that. But you fail to grasp the simple concept that in 2016, a cursor is driven by a mouse, and in your hubris to show us all your lovely hard work, you've artificially padded your game in completely unnecessary ways. Maybe it's just me and my unwavering preference for mechanics, but considering what Ben and Jordan already said, it's very clearly not. So for me, it gets 1 chair.
That's 1 chair for the fun segment. Tallying all this up, we get 2 whole chairs for the game with an asteroid. Final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen.
With this game, I don't know. Make it moddable, change the glowing orb of doesn't belong in the game, do something with it, doesn't fit the entire look and feel of the game, to a taser, or just give me a taser, or bullets, or fire, or something. This is not fourth person, this is Smitey Dick God Simulator. I mean, by that definition of fourth person, black and white, that's racist. Or The Sims, they're all fourth person games, because it's the same fucking mechanic. Maybe it was like, well, you're influencing this to make him do that. And it's like, yeah, God Simulator.
Yeah, no, while it does rub me specifically the wrong way, it's a very good-looking puzzler. It is. Can't really argue that. Even if the whole fourth-person thing just means you're playing a much more forgiving back-to-bed, that's a game, look it up, without the bunny-eared dog person, it doesn't really match up to any other puzzler game out there on Steam right now. And I mentioned Steven's Sausage Roll. That's a very good puzzle game. Play that instead.
Yeah, Steven's Sausage Roll is fucking hardcore. This game is pretty much that cute individual of your gender preference of choice at the bar who you go up and try to chat up, and then when they open your mouth, you realize they're just completely stupid. This is that game. It is all flash and no substance, which is kind of the opposite of what a puzzle game needs to be. Substantive.